Today we're talking about Kundalini. If this interests you, stick around and let's get into it. So recently I received a comment on one of my videos, and I don't even remember which video it was. Honestly, we were talking about spirit guides or about asking for protection before using a pendulum, maybe. Anyways, I received a comment that I wanted to respond to. I'm going to read it so that I don't mess it up. Why don't we just call this energy Kundalini? Because in reality, one wants to speak to their Kundalini spirit, or the personalities of the Kundalini spirit one considers angelic. And then I responded and said that he can certainly choose to call it whatever he wants. I'm not here to tell anybody what to do, but that not everybody believes or has the same experience as that. And it's pretty widely accepted that Kundalini is its own energy force, and it's an entirely different energy and experience than anything he's talking about. And then he responded and said, if possible, would you please explain why I think that guardian spirits and Kundalini are different energies? So here we are. First, let's start at the beginning. We have to talk about energy. We all know that everything is energy, right? Everything that is energy. There's no such thing as me or you or the desk. These are all just different ways that energy is arranged and combined. But really, everything is one big quantum field of energy. I also choose to believe that there is a supreme creator being. I call it God for simplicity, or the divine. You can call it whatever you want, but there was one force that created. This divine creator force is all that is. It contains all that is. It contains both masculine and feminine energies. I sometimes refer to God as a he, but that's only for simplicity. God is neither he nor she. God is all. The creator being, the divine, is all. They're in perfect energetic balance between the masculine and the feminine. Now, this divine masculine energy is referred to as Shiva. And the divine feminine energy is referred to as Shakti. So you have, like, yin and yang would be a perfect balance of Shiva and Shakti. Masculine, feminine. Now, even though we as humans are almost never in perfect balance, however, we do contain both. We do possess both. Every single one of us has both masculine and feminine energies within us, both the Shiva and the Shakti. Divine masculine energy is demonstrated more with like tasks and doing and providing and producing, go-getting. It's like get stuff done, right? And it's strength and sternness and hardness, and it moves quicker energy. Whereas the contrary is true for the divine feminine energy. Divine feminine energy flows, and it's slower and it's softer, and there's a sway and a flow to the movements. Divine feminine energy is about receiving and then creating. She receives food, and I'm not meaning to be misogynistic here. That is not the goal of this. This is just a description of feminine energy. This is, so let me clarify that. I'm probably the world's biggest feminist, so that's not what this is about. But divine feminine energy does receive. She receives ingredients. She produces a meal. She receives seed. She creates a baby. She creates an entire life. Life funnels through her. She is a portal of life. She bears and she creates and she releases into the world. One way that the patriarchy has done a great disservice to men, and it's done a great disservice to a lot of people, especially women, but it has done a great disservice to men because it says that if you tap into that divine feminine energy at all, if you create, if you are creative, then you must be too girly and that there's something wrong with that. Throw that BS out the window because it's complete garbage. But creativity can look like anything. It can look like you're outside putting the meat in the smoker. You're standing there barbecuing and like, you know how to like get it just right. It can look like mowing your yard and getting those beautiful diagonal stripes. That's being creative. That's art. It's trimming the hedges and like wanting just a specific line to it. That's art. That is divine feminine energy. That is your creativity coming through. And just like men can and should have moments of being in their feminine energy, women have moments of being in their masculine energy. Like they have a to-do list, they have a task list, they need to like hustle and get things done. So that doesn't mean that you reside there. Either one of those, it means that you really should strive to have a balance. That's the goal anyway. So embrace it. Embrace whatever you're doing at the moment. So how does this relate to Kundalini? So the tradition of Kundalini is that each of our little sparks of Shakti, our little piece of divine feminine energy that we get and is allowed to live within us, that resides at the base of your spine in your root chakra, the first chakra. That's where it lives. Shakti originates and lives in your root chakra at the base of your spine, right around your tailbone. And Shiva resides in your crown chakra up here on your head. Okay, are you with me so far? So Kundalini is when you have reached the point on your spiritual journey, on your spiritual path. You've expanded your consciousness enough that that first chakra opens and releases that divine feminine energy. It releases the Shakti, and that energy begins to wind its way up your spine and through your body on its way to the top to meet Shiva. Now, remember what we said about the divine feminine energy, how it flows and it sways. If you look at a woman who is in her divine feminine, her hips sway when she moves. She swishes those hips, and it's beautiful. There's a curve to her. There's a flow to her. The same with this energy. It flows, and it winds its way up. And that's why it's usually depicted as a serpent or as a snake, because it feels like it's winding its way up through your body. In Sanskrit, Kundalini actually means coiled snake. And, you know, that is exactly how that energy feels when it's moving through your body. It feels blissful. Now, not everybody's experience is the same, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But my experience was, to say it's blissful doesn't sum it up. I don't know a better word in the English language. Ecstasy. It was like a walking, ecstasy-filled, orgasmic energy that just lasted 24/7, and it lasted for weeks, maybe even a few months. And then it would still come back. Like if I did a lot of meditating, to this day, if I do a lot of meditating or if I'm really in the zone, it comes right back. And it just was all encompassing. It encompassed my entire being. It affected the way I talked. It affected the way I saw people. I felt like I was lost in this cloud of ecstasy swimming in my head. I've never taken ecstasy, but I can imagine this is what it feels like. I mean, it was beautiful. And there was no way to escape it. When it first happened, it scared me to death because I didn't know what was happening. And it was so strong. I thought about calling 911, but I knew that they would think I was crazy. And how do you explain that? But yeah, it was strong, but it felt just like it. That energy just kind of like was constantly swaying and flowing over me. And I'm aware that not everybody has the same experience. Some people, their experience is a little bit more shocking from what I've heard. Everyone's different, but this is also why I always say to be careful what you ask for, because you just might get it. And that you shouldn't try to force this issue. Doing a lot of Kundalini yoga, Kundalini meditations, paying someone to help you get into Kundalini awakening. Be careful, because I think it's hard to force it, but if you're able to force it, sometimes your experience isn't that pleasant because you aren't ready for it. Sometimes you're like, but I want it, but I want it, but I want it. And the universe finally goes, okay, here you go. And you weren't ready for it, and it's hard to handle, and it can be traumatic. Whereas if you're ready for it, I think sometimes it can be a lot more blissful. And that's what you want. So I'm a firm believer that if you're doing the work, if you are meditating every day, if your intention is to expand your mind and open your consciousness and to do the shadow work to get rid of the stuff and to open up the chakras and any blockages that are stopping it. If you're doing the work, if you're meant to have this happen to you, it's going to happen. And it's going to happen when you're ready for it. And then when you're ready for it, it's going to pop off. And there's no stopping it. Mine started in the middle of the night. It woke me up out of a sound sleep. So in summary, as we said, the Kundalini energy, it's not a being, it's not an entity, it's not an angel, it's not a spirit guide. It is an essence. It is a glowing little essence of divine feminine energy that makes up your being. It exists inside of your human body. So when he said, you know, to call on your Kundalini guide or your Kundalini angel or your protective Kundalini, I don't want to misquote him here. I'm not meaning to be rude. I just don't have it in front of my face to whatever he said. But it's not a thing. It's not an external being that you can call on or that you can name. It's just that spark of the divine feminine energy that resides within you and was given to you at creation. All right, I hope this made sense to you, and I hoped that you were able to soak this up and that it made sense. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are. If you have anything to add, let me know if you've ever been through a Kundalini awakening. I would love to hear your experience, and I'll catch you next time. All right, you guys.